Hey y'all, happy Wednesday. If you're in Charleston and a CCSD parent, happy first day back to school. This is wild. It's a little bittersweet. It's just so quiet around the house. I just don't know what to do with myself. My oldest daughter is going into third grade or started third grade today. My middle child went into first day of first grade. This is a new school for both of them. My youngest is still kind of at her same pre-K school. So I definitely had more feelings this morning than I was expecting, but the only tears going in were mom's, so I'll take it. I held myself together though, but it still was very like, wow, this is a bigger school than we're used to, and this is like a real school. So we've just been at like really small Montessori schools, so now we're kind of branching out into the bigger charter public Montessori school. So that is what's going on in my world. I would love to hear from you. Whether your kids just went back or have been back, let me know how it's going. I know just lots of mom feelings now. But whatever you did this summer, you did a great job and they loved it and you did enough. So I wanted to start with that piece first. Really excited today. I have a ton of notes. Today we are talking about, do you want a conversion rate that is 6 times higher? So this strategy, I looked up some data. I have some stats to share with you. I put some in the promos. Like, it is wild to me. Just how remarkable this strategy works and how many people aren't using it. And this is kind of something I take for granted. Like, I realized I don't talk about it as much. I talk a lot about sales and selling. My clients are always sending me copy for their websites to review or sales posts to review. I'm doing an intensive coming up with someone so that they get like a batch of sales posts that they can use, and it's like 2 months worth. That really speaks to them and their message, and it doesn't sound like ChatGPT or AI or whatever you can find online. Like, it really stands out. So I talk a lot about selling. So the strategy we're going to talk about today is value. That is something I just take for granted and I don't really talk about it. So we're having a whole conversation today. So if you're jumping on live, catching the replay, I just want to say thank you. I am so glad you're here. We always like to do a fun giveaway. So if you ask a question, leave an emoji, leave a comment, whatever, you're entered to win. How about we give away my Mastering Sales Post Masterclass, since we were just talking about sales posts. So that will be the other piece of this conversation. So today we're talking about value, the gift that we want to give you. It's a low ticket item for sale on my website, but I want to give it to you about how to write sales posts. So that's what we are giving away today. So be sure to comment, leave a question. I love your comments and questions. I know so many people have to catch the replays on these. Like, this isn't really like the best time for everybody in the middle of the day to sit down and watch something. So I really appreciate y'all when you do. And so even if you catch the replay and have a question, please ask it. I definitely want this to be supportive for you and get that answered. So let's jump in. I'll pull up my notes because I have like a million of them. So we kind of talked about what the thing is, what the strategy is, and that is adding value. I always talk about tooting your own horn and really speaking to your results and what's possible and all that, but like really adding value is huge. This is something that I personally just genuinely believe in. If you're a part of this group, you know that we post twice daily in this group. I always try to give tons of value. I come in here every week. We will start back with master classes in September, so that is a live stream plus a playbook that I make for you, give to you, it's yours. I give free calls. So, if you're not aware, I give 10K content strategy audit calls, and this is literally free coaching. Like, I believe in value and giving value on the front end so much. And if you're in this world, you know how much I just am an advocate of that. And I really believe that, like, if you give people so much value on the front end, then they're just going to be sitting there like, holy shit, what's it like if I pay her and work with her and always have her in my corner? So that's just like a belief that I have. And I've talked to a lot of people and business owners. I've had calls, I've had client sessions that are about like not wanting to give away too much. And I say that in air quotes because that's basically what I hear. It's like, I don't want to give away too much. Like, I still want people to hire me. I don't want to like give everything away and they're just going to take my free value and content and then they're never going to hire me. And that's just something I totally disagree with. I think it is a bad idea. I think it is detrimental to your business. One, because information is everywhere for free. There is Google, there is YouTube, there is ChatGPT, there's I don't know how many other AI, artificial intelligence things are coming out now. Like, I can't even keep up. But if you've built your business on having some kind of like secret information or secret sauce or secret formula or secret something that like no one can find out there, like that is just a failing business model. Like it just is. Like you don't have any kind of secret that no one else has, that no one else has thought of, that people can't find just anywhere on the internet. Like maybe you're kind of like a Steve Jobs or whoever invented these AI people, but for most of us, like our stuff is just, it's already out there. It's stuff that's already been done. And like we do it in a unique way, and we bring our unique background and our unique skills and all of that. Like I'm not saying like our stuff is just generic crap, but I am saying that like, you know, any bookkeeping thing people can look up. People can look up like, you know, a lot of stuff, like piece together everything. So I really don't want to like build my business on just like, hey, I've got some secret, you know, formulas or some secret, you know, funnel emails or secret sales posts that if you work with me and you buy from me, these are going to make you money. I just think that is bullshit and run far, far away from someone who is telling you that. Because, you know, I just feel like if you're building your business on just this information that is a secret that no one can find, like you're probably going to go out of business soon, because people can just, they can just find it. Like it's all out there. Information is everywhere. There's no shortage of information. So, you know, that if that's your secret sauce, it's going to dry up because people are going to figure that out, or they're going to be very disappointed when they work with you and they're like, oh yeah, I like Googled this already, or I YouTubed this and I saw an exact YouTube video. And then it's like, you're going to be like, oh, well, you know, then it's like awkward because you thought you were selling some secret thing, but really it's not secret. So that's kind of the first thing, that information is everywhere. It is free. If you feel like you're giving away too much, you are not, because people can already find it out there. So the other piece of that is, let's see, I'm trying to look like, what am I reading my notes? And so, you know, the thing is like, if you're not giving information for free, there are people who do what you do that are already giving it away. So you're kind of like, and I was trying to like make sense of my notes there for a second because I didn't remember what I wrote, but now I remember. So like, if you think you're not going to give information, you don't want to give away too much, but there are other people out there doing the same thing as you that are giving it away. So you're really putting yourself at a disservice. Like someone who does the same thing as you is kind of already giving it away. And so people are going to gravitate towards that person. So that was the other piece of that. Sorry, it took me a minute to like revisit my notes. I don't want this to be distressing. I don't want it to be depressing. I think this is amazing. I think this is such great information. It is very liberating. It really opens up what you get to do with your clients. Like a lot of the work I do, like it's so nice to give so much stuff away for free, because then it's already kind of out there and I have all these resources I can send clients, or people before they hire me consume this. And so we don't spend like all the paid container going through all of this stuff that I was hiding. Like it's already all out there online. They've already consumed it. And now we can kind of like jump in and do the real fun work. So that to me is like great news. And like, think of that in your business is like, I'm giving all this value up front so that when people do hire me, we're already kind of taking it to the next level, because I don't have to spend all this time like helping them kind of figure out these basic things. Like I've already given them a ton of value. And even if they don't consume it, maybe it's there as a resource, or maybe you have a conversation and then you send something to them. Like I have lots of clients that I'll send like, oh, I did this masterclass and here's a playbook and you might, you know, like this piece. So you could just use those as assets for when people hire you. So that's kind of like the mindset piece. Like I don't want my business to be built on information. I want it to be built on implementation. Like that is what people hire me for. I think it would be really boring. It would really limit the work that I had if I were like, you know, saving secret stuff for later. So I have an itch. Just looking at my notes. So really like, you know, if they just hired me to walk through these playbooks that I have, or walk through a spreadsheet with them, like that really like, it makes our work not as juicy. It really doesn't get them the results as fast, because we're spending so much time walking through all this kind of basic stuff that like, I've got all the information, I can just give it to them out there. So that's what I want to say about that. And I want to use a personal example about this. And if you're hopping on, say hello, say hi, love questions. A personal example is our dog Penny. She's going to turn 2 this month. When we first got her, she was very much a puppy. We looked at YouTube videos. I got some books from the library. We tried to do some stuff on our own, but we ended up hiring someone because like we just couldn't implement it. And it was so nice to have someone come to our home who knew our schedule, who knew our routine, who knew our 3 kids and what life looked like. Like he was literally there in the evenings when like we're doing our trainings and I'm like kind of in the background like getting dinner ready, or the kids are asking me questions about this and sees like the setup in our home, and like may have actually been there for when like my father-in-law came over. You know, like he had all these variable pieces that like someone on YouTube just wouldn't be able to like help me with that. Like, okay, cool, when you're making dinner and she's going crazy and the kids are doing this, like here are some things you can do, here are some things you can pull out of your pockets. It was really helpful, you know, just for us. I mean, you know, I think we paid him like over $1,000, but like it was so worth it to just have someone come to our home and be like, here are some exercises, like this is your dog, this is what you're wanting out of, you know, what you're expecting. Granted, we haven't always done them all, but still that's our problem. But like we still like need help with the implementation piece. Like we've talked about doing it again because we're just like, the implementation piece is key. But like it gave us so much valuable information on the front end, because just reading from the books and looking at YouTube, it's like, well, that's great in a book or that's great on YouTube for this like perfectly set up scenario, but like how does it fit into our life and our schedule and what our family looks like, and how can we incorporate the kids into it, and all these different variables. So it was so valuable. Like, I mean, the information was out there, like how to train a dog. Like it's not like this is just like new information, like cutting edge. Like people have been training dogs for like decades, and you know, there's books that go way back. Some things have probably changed, but the information is out there. Like I could probably ask ChatGPT, like, hey, give me a dog training schedule for a 1-year-old Vizsla. That's what we have, you know, and like they could spit something out. And like on paper, it might look great, but like when in reality, it's like, oh, but what about when the kids do this or this happens, or, you know, whatever is going on with life. So like that was just really valuable for us to like hire someone to come in. We didn't need more information. We needed help absorbing all the information and actually implementing it. So that is kind of the personal example. And then even if we look outside of business, like I love reading about the brain. I love reading manifestation books. I love like kind of all this woo energy stuff. And like all of that is out there all over the internet. There's tons of YouTube videos. There's tons of like websites online and blogs and everything. But like I like having the books. I like the little manifestation books, the brain books. Right now I'm reading the Happiness Advantage. Like I just love these books because they put it all in one place. Like it's all out there, but I just like it to be like packaged up in a nice little bow. I can order it from Amazon. I can get it from the library, and it's just all condensed in one place. So think about that. Like even if what you do, yes, people can like find it elsewhere, but like you're the one curating it. Like if you offer a program or something, you know, like they could find all of that stuff, but it's going to take them hours. It's going to take them so much time to like piece it all together. So really selling, you know, the value that you give and providing the value up front of that. So I think that's all I had to say about that. So now we're going to kind of talk about, like, that's the mindset piece. If you know me, you know I love to go through the mindset, strategy, organization, and implementation of all of this. So next is kind of the strategy and organized piece. And this is where I use ChatGPT to give me some nice little statistics. Because I read in that Happiness Advantage book, which I highly recommend. I don't remember the author, but it's just a really good book. He talked about, like, what was it, doctors. I think it was like a 44% rate of doctors who actually exercise and eat right. So these are people who very much know the body and how it works. And they've been in med school and they've done rotations and they've seen all these things of what it looks like if you don't exercise and eat right. But continually, most of them don't. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, we know what we should do, but we don't. So I asked ChatGPT for some stats related to business and about free value. So that's the stats about business that I'll save. I think it's for another live stream, but this one is about value. So, you know, I thought it was so interesting, that study that was about like all these doctors that weren't doing what they were supposed to do. So I wanted to bring this into the, okay, well, what does literally giving value kind of give you? So I found out that about 60% of consumers feel more positive about a company after reading custom content on their site. So custom content to me is value. It's not taking a canned post. It's literally like, maybe you do use ChatGPT to help you, but you're really like customizing the content. Like you're taking a client story, a client example, a client result, and you're like teaching people, like, how did people get this result, or what's possible for them, and you're customizing it. So that is part of the value content, is really customizing something. Another stat is around 90% of consumers find custom content useful and believe it reflects a brand's commitment to deliver quality. So when you are out there providing custom value-based content, like, it is 90% like of people like believe that the brand delivers a better quality because they see that quality of content and value that they're already putting out. Businesses that prioritize value-driven content see up to 8 times more website traffic. Like, people are not dumb. Like, we know when something is just put up there, it's canned, like AI made it, or somebody who doesn't know anything about your business made it. Like, you just hired a VA and they just come in and write something for you. Like, sometimes that is okay, but like maybe that gets you like 50 to 80% there. You still take that content and you still put your spin on it so that you add the value, you add the client results, all that stuff. Because it shows that people are 8 times more likely to visit your website if you prioritize value-based content. Companies that use value-based content marketing experience a conversion rate that is nearly 6 times higher compared to those that don't. And that to me just comes back to that know, like, and trust. I know that there are studies out there, you know, I like my studies and my stats. Studies out there that if you have 2 products and they're basically similar, and maybe product A is a little bit better than product B, but people know product B, they've gotten value from product B before, you know, they trust product B, like, they're more likely to buy that one, even if the other product is a little bit better. Like, that's just how we are. We like those relationships. So if you know, you and someone else are selling the exact same service, if you have provided value and you've really shown someone like you care and you built a relationship, like, your conversion rate is going to be 6 times higher because they are already bought on you and like sold on you. So just think about that. Like, that is wild to me. Like, if you have, you know, let's see, what is the stat? 6 times higher conversion rate. So that's just saying, like, out of all your best fit calls, out of all your discovery calls, or whatever you call them, like, people are 6 times more likely to say yes when they've already been consuming your content. And that's just something, you're putting out content anyway, so make it value-based. Because these last few stats were specifically value-based content. So those numbers to me are huge. So just think about those. I can send you them if you want to reach out, and I can message them to you. I actually had even more than that, but I was trying to keep it simple. But I just thought that was wild, especially about like value-based content is going to see, you know, 8 times more traffic to your website, and using value-based content marketing is going to really increase your conversions 6 times because of just the relationship that's built. So that's just wild. And like, why wouldn't you use it if that was the case? So to me, that's how I want to start like the strategy and the organization conversation, because it's literally showing you like, this does work. And not only does it work, but it just feels good. Like, that's when we're talking about selling. We want that even exchange of energy. So be sure to work in value-based content to even out. You need to be selling. Like, you're a business, you need clients, selling, but you also have to balance that out with value. But if you're always providing value, that doesn't feel like an even exchange. So you need both. So figure out whatever ratio works for you. And this is something I work with people like on the free calls. It's like, okay, well, let's just get super clear. Like, maybe you're posting 3 value-based content pieces a week and 2 sales posts, or maybe you only post 2 value-based and 1 sales post. Like, whatever your cadence is, it doesn't matter how often you're posting, as long as you have like a regular schedule and cadence, and you know, like, okay, I'm always providing value this many times a week, and I'm always selling these many times a week. So that way it's like you're getting both. And the value-based content, like, something I see people get really distracted with. Like, I think the behind the scenes is great. I think speaking to your why is great. Client examples are great. And the client examples to me kind of come back to value-based, but some of these other non-selling content topics aren't exactly value-based. Does that make sense? So just because it's not a selling post doesn't mean that it's value-based. So really be sure to look at that and make sure, like, okay, maybe this week I do have some behind the scenes or some kind of like fun personal stuff, but make sure you're adding in actual value-based. Looking at your content for the week, and just asking yourself, like, if I were a random person, would I be getting value from this? Like, would this be helping me in my life? Or is this just kind of like, okay, good to know about Jordan and her why, but like, I'm not better. I'm not able to go live my life and like implement any of these things. So really make sure that your content, your value-based content, is genuinely value-based. It's not just like non-sales post. So if anybody jumps on, or you want to give an example of your business and what that might look like, please feel free. I didn't really go through with like examples of it, but you know, if you're just going to think about like a teeth whitening service, like you could think about content that would be valuable to someone would be like foods that, you know, help you not need to whiten your teeth in the first place. Or after you whiten your teeth, you know, here's kind of like how you can maintain it. You know, here are different alternatives for teeth whitening and what we have seen to be pros and cons from them. So that's just an example. Value-based content, like if you are a web designer, you know, thinking about like giving people things that their website needs, like check these things off the list. Does yours have this? Or maybe these are updates that you do every month, or kind of things that you run and add every month. Like I think there's stuff on the back end, you know, that like they watch every month or maintain or update, you know, like I don't know what it is. Pay someone to do that, but you know, you might tell someone who's like a DIYer, like, hey, be sure on the back end you're doing these things every month. Or hey, you know, this helps your website kind of get to the top of the pile, you know, when people are searching, or you know, anything kind of useful information like that. Like I was talking about with our, you know, when we got our puppy trained, like maybe they do content that is around like, okay, you have a puppy, you want to take them out in public, here's a few tips for that. Or you're having someone come to your house, and how do you handle greetings at the door? Like, here's a couple tips for that. Like, you can give them those tips and they'll still need to hire you, because like, you know, they might be watching you, you know, who's giving the tips in your home in this perfectly quiet environment, and they're like, but mine looks a little bit different. Like, that's helpful, and I would still love for you to help me do that for me in my house and what that looks like. So think about that in your business. Again, message me, leave a comment if you want some help brainstorming that together. You know, I really like to give content that's really like focused on mindset or strategy or organizing or implementing. Like, I really like to put content out there to help people give, you know, takeaways, and doing this live stream about giving value. So like, think about in your business, like what is something that would be valuable for someone to have? So, and then working that into your strategy so that you literally know every week, like, okay, I've got this many sales posts and this many value-based posts. So like, there's always a strategy around it. That's the easiest way to like set it up and organize it. So in the implement piece, if you're not giving value in your content, like no shame in that game. Like, now is the time to just start. Like, you know, we're so often taught like, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free type of thing. And I think like people still kind of have that mentality when they're selling and running their business, but like, it's so outdated. Like, everything is online, like we already talked about earlier, but like implementing is like the key. So if you think about like, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free, the milk is already out there. Like, it's already across multiple platforms. And there are so many people offering the same thing that each of us offer. So really like, think about you giving value up front, because you know, the online space is noisy. It is a buyer's market. Like, all of that stuff is true, but like, you will really stand out, and you really don't have to worry about the algorithm. I mean, if people want to consume your content, like, even if the algorithm's not serving it in front of them, if they know of you and they're like, hey, I'm at the doctor's office, have some time to kill, I'm just going to get on and see what Jordan's posting. Like, that's what my goal, you know, like, I don't worry about algorithms. I don't worry about hacking it or any of that stuff. Like, I literally want to create content that people want to find. Even if it's not showing up in their feed, if they know about me, they can like find it and consume it and like get some tons of value from it. So think about that. Like, it takes the pressure off of trying to be like, I got to keep up with the fanciest reels, and I've got to, you know, do all these things and use the perfect hashtags and all that. But like, literally, if you're just like putting something out there that people want to consume, like, they are going to gravitate towards you. They're like, oh my gosh, this person is real. She gives tons of value. Like, I haven't even paid her, but I can go to her, you know, social media or website and like find all this amazing information for free. Like, that is just such a gift, and that's just going to pay you back. I've literally never seen this backfire where it's just like, gave so much value on the front, and then like it just like the person didn't want more. I just haven't seen that happen. So I found another thing that was like, one study says 82% of customers viewed 5 or more pieces of content from a winning vendor before making a purchase. So like that's huge. Like people are out there wanting someone to solve their problem. And if you can give them information and value about, yes, that is possible, and here are some steps to get you started, they're going to buy from you over someone else. So just keep that in mind. Like we talked about earlier, like even if someone offers a better product or service than you, or has more glitzy marketing or more experience or whatever, if you're putting stuff out there and you've built a relationship with that person and you've given them value, they're going to buy from you over that, better quote unquote, provider. And the glitzy marketing is all just bullshit anyway. Let's just call it that. But, just having those relationships built, really, like, our brains love that. We just love safety, and we love to like have a relationship built with this person and know that they're a real person, because the online space can feel so fake and not real. And if people just know, like, I know that I can show up to Jordan's account and she's real and she's providing information, and then I get on the phone with her and she's the exact same way, like, that is just so congruent. So think about that in your content. Like, you don't have to be the dancing monkey in the reels, or have the craziest video editing. Like, you just get to show up and be you and provide value, because that's what people are buying. Like, when people work with you, if you're totally different than how you show up online and on social, like, it's kind of confusing to them. So it's like full permission to just show up and give value in a way that like feels good to you. And obviously, like, I'm not saying like we don't want to have superior products. Like, you don't need to try to make your product the best or service. Like, I'm not saying that, but like, it just shows how valuable it is to have connections. Like, we all want to provide a shit ton of value and be the best provider out there, but there's always somebody out there with more experience, whatever else. And so really leaning into our superpowers come from providing value and building those relationships. So again, we keep hearing how it's a buyer's market. You want to stand out in a noisy market, but really it's not about being the loudest. It's really about creating content that gives people value, that they want to consume, that they want to be a part of your audience, putting it out there. So that is my call to you. How are you giving value? Look at your content this week. Look at your, value to sales post ratio, and just make sure you're putting value out there. Look at each piece and be like, does someone get something out of this? Does this improve their life? Does this help them run their business better? Does this, help them in their family life better? Whatever it is, like, look at it and just kind of start small and start adding that in little bit by little bit. And you'll probably get some really great data and see what people really like and what they really resonate with and what really helps them. And that just helps you create more of that. So, if you're you're confused about value content or sales post content or the ratio or giving too much away, like, I really invite you to book one of my free calls. It's the 10K content strategy audit for more clients and cash. Like, these have been filling up every week since I got back. They are so much fun. They are so amazing. I've gotten teary-eyed multiple times on calls because people have quoted my content or said they, really enjoyed something spoke to them, and it just feels so good. And it's just like, you create this content and you are excited about it and feel creative, but really to hear back from people that it makes a difference. Like, I'm telling you, it feels so good. I'm getting teary-eyed thinking about it. But that's why, like, this is just so powerful, is to have people come to you that quote your content and quote your value and are like, yeah, I already knew I was wanting to buy from you because of XYZ. I just wanted to get on the phone and see if it's a good fit. Like, that will start to happen to you when you have this value content built in. So again, if you're confused, book a call. We might be full this week, but I think there's some spots next week. I'm going to put the link below. Again, I'm getting full. We have a couple spots open in September. Once those are full for my one-to-ones, it'll just be on like a first come, first serve basis. So we'll see how long I offer this many calls. I'll still keep the free calls to book in my week, but we might just have to decrease a little bit those as we continue to get full and support more clients. So again, I'll put the link below. Thank you so much for being here. Questions, comments, drop them at me. I will be back next week, and have a great rest of your week. Bye.